Okay, I've already wasted an hour today trying to get these things to work. The camera doesn't seem to want to acknowledge the audio, so it's a shame. It's kind of a windy day. I was hoping to use these. Anyway, enough whining. It's a beautiful day. We got a lot to do. Yesterday, I tried mocking this up, fitted the turnbuckle in place, discovered that with the 5/8 thimble on here, it still won't fit in these jaws. Any turnbuckle big enough to accommodate that would just be too big. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I tried to splice, got the dead eye out of here and tried to splice a new eye with a thimble on it. This stuff, it was just impossible to work with. It's even more dried out than it looks. And of course, when I was done, it wasn't like this. I just strapped this back together temporarily. When I was done, it was like a foot too short. Even though I measured everything carefully, I underestimated just how much length is consumed by trying to do this. And you can see the difficulty I had. You can't really do a 3-strand splice when it wants to just unlay like that. It's almost impossible to get it back. And yes, it wasn't because I didn't burn the ends. I did burn the ends. It's just, I don't know, nature of the beast. So I'm gonna have to replace that sooner than later. And another interesting thing, I just noted I didn't bother mousing this because I figured it's just sitting here. Just from moving a little bit in the wind yesterday, this pin was almost all the way out. The nut I had on here is missing, and the cotter pin is missing. It didn't fall on deck. Of course, it fell down there somewhere. We'll find it. But that's just from gently moving in the wind all night. Crazy. I'm gonna deal with this shortly. I think I can start with this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this back apart and I'm gonna try to redo this with just whipped temporarily, just to keep it here, so that I have it in place for an accurate measurement. I had this tensioned up pretty good too. Look at that. This is gonna be trickier than I thought. And then we can see out there, again, this is just a mock-up. That is not the block I'm gonna use. I forgot to bring the block I wanna use. That block will be used for a downhaul for the flying jib later. And right now I'm supporting the turnbuckle for it with the halyard for the Yankee or topsail jib, whatever you'd like to call it. But that this line, which I have tied off back here, I'm going to try today to do a spliced eye again. And where that hook is now, that spliced eye will somehow fit onto the turnbuckle, probably with another shackle. I think I'm going to replace all shackles in this setup with swivel shackles later. You can see this is not really kosher, but I'm just trying to get it mocked up so I can see what I got to do. Today's plan is to get cracking on the new rot areas that should be taken care of before I lay the deck. Primarily a couple other little things. I'm going to go home for a few days and mill the rest of the black locust, all I'm going to need to lay the deck, and then probably starting over the weekend, start banging that out, get that thing done. What I've done so far, what I spent most of yesterday doing was messing around with the rig, only because I can't continue with the deck right now. I don't have everything. My shop space is 140 miles away. And I tried my hand at some spliced eyes. It didn't work out very well with that old 3-strand. The inner one, the black one, the inner black forestay is even older and crustier than it looks. It did not want to be unraveled to be spliced. I couldn't get it to twist back up again, and it wound up too short anyway. I just have it temporarily kind of seized in place, the eye. Just wanted to set it up to see if any of my choices are going to work for that. The outer one turned out a little bit better, but that stuff, I think it's not hemp, it's probably flax, because it will not melt. I tried to melt the ends, so they don't fray too much while you're making the splice. and it won't burn. I couldn't get it to burn even, nothing. So I don't know what it is, but it is also really old and probably rotten. And the more I look at what I've got going out there with the big turnbuckles, which I had to really abuse that thimble to get it in there, it's, the more I look at it, the more I think it's not gonna be good long term. So I'm contemplating replacing those two stays with Dyneema, probably 3/16, probably Amsteel blue, which has the 3/16 has a braking load of something like 4 tons. So I think that'll be adequate. It's not going to look very traditional, but it'll work fine. It'll also, as usual, expand my options for hardware, including hanks. With that 5/8 3-strand, the only piston hanks I could get on there would be number 5s, number 4s and number 5s, which are huge and cost, I don't know, over $50 a piece, even in stainless. I have a different idea I'll show you later about what I'm going to use. And yes, you can use steel hanks on Dyneema as long as they aren't already grooved and cut by being used on steel wire. If you have new ones and they don't have anything inside the opening that can snag on the Dyneema, chafe will not be an issue. I will probably use turnbuckles still, but I'm going to get smaller ones. I was looking at some older Merriman Brothers bronze turnbuckles, which would be too small to use with the 3-strand, but would work well with 3/16 Dyneema. I might jump on those, and then I'll take those two turnbuckles and probably relegate them to whisker stay duty or bob stay duty, or both. I might get one more so I can do all 3 to make tensioning all that easier, but not spend too much money on it. The light colored lines you see with the hooks on them are the halyards for the staysail and the Yankee, or topmast jib, whatever you want to call it. Those are doing okay. I'm not going to worry about them right now, but I'm probably going to replace all of that running rigging with a more traditional looking 3-strand as opposed to yacht braid. Definitely not Dyneema. Probably Hempex, which is flax based but holds up to UV and rot in general better than hemp does. I'm not going to be able to record this whole process because there's no room in here for the camera, and I'm going to have to kind of get myself in here, hand for scale. I have to kind of insinuate myself in here today to cut away the rest of that. I may replace stuff with plastic, including that beam. I may try to cut that. I don't know why it came off in a wedge like that, but whatever. I might try to square that up and clamp in and glue epoxy some of that plastic. I got plenty of it left. Before I start, I gotta take these little pegboards off of here. I may as well take all of this junk out of here and put it somewhere else where it'll be in the way. Maybe pull that nail out so I don't hurt myself on that. I don't know why there's a nail there. Anyway, I'll show you when I'm done, or when I get fed up and have to stop with it for the day. Up in there, it's still quite wet. I gave it a chance to dry out. I put a moisture absorbing thing in the general area. It may still be active. We did get a lot of rain last week. I don't remember if I looked in here while it was raining to see if I see dripping. I gotta look again on deck, I think, before I proceed with this. As usual, I have to get sidetracked with another related project before I can resume what I'm trying to do, and reef out more Sikaflex up there. Maybe I got to take some measurements to figure out exactly where that lies. It may be related to that one stainless bolt that doesn't even have a nut on it. I don't know. It could be coming in up here and then making its way downhill to there, but I suspect the seal around the cap rail more than anything. I could finish this in the water, but I want to put a lot of stuff in this locker. I'm going to turn this into my electrical bay. More details on that later. So it would behoove me to get this done soon. But this stuff is dry. All the rotten, the bottom of that chunk of oak, I'm going to cut it, continue that straight line that you see there, and replace that with something, probably the plastic, because that's holding up pretty well. I also have a little bit to do underneath. I also have a little work to do underneath on the starboard side in that corner along a similar vein. But yeah, let's go on deck and see if we can figure out what's up with that. There may be wind noise, my apologies. This is the beam with the rot, the double beam. Yeah, 10 inches. And then 27 inches from the bulkhead line. So I put this back in. These are not bolts that go through the cap rail. These are screws. So those offender, the two that we see, are probably buried under these plugs, which look fine. I don't think rainwater is getting in on top and saturating. I think one missing plug here. I could restore that today. I got to clean this first. But water does tend, you can see by the collection of pollen and dust here. I haven't been able to hose down the deck for a while. The aft deck is wide open, as you can see. It'll run in here. I don't want to do that, even with salt water. Yeah, water, because of the way the boat is sitting, you have those little scupper tubes. Anything forward, it will eventually make its way down and exit that if it doesn't get too clogged with debris. But stuff falling here, it doesn't really, unless it's moving, it doesn't want to go over this edge. This is a low spot in the shear, so it tends to collect here. Yeah, that's not so great. I thought I put some more in here, but I didn't do it right. I got to get everything out. Maybe from here, this intersection, all the way to here. The rest of these seams, although they could stand to be sanded down, yeah, maybe I'll just do. I don't want to make this an all-day thing, but I got to do something with it today. I'm gonna clean this and then just reef out this caulk line from here to the end and redo it. Look at all the little red mites. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to smush you. Sorry. They're harmless. It's a little disturbing, but they don't eat wood. They eat vegetables. They're probably after pollen. There's pollen all over this boat. It's going to be a hot one today, I think. Kind of hot already. Oh. Ah. I didn't see that before. That may be, I think I'm going to start. Start right here. I have a funny feeling about this half-buried screw head. I'll bet there's no bung there, but there's no plug. No, there's a plug. Epoxy. Wow. Yeah, it could be epoxy from this or something when this was bedded. Beehive scraper. I could put a better edge on it, but I don't really need that right now. This thing is so handy. I don't have a beehive. I've had this for decades, so I love it. Huh. Gull has a lot to say. No, nope, that's an exposed screw head. Can't really get a plug in there. The deuce is that? Can't really get it out. I can't really get a plug in there. I gotta just do what was done before, get more Seafarer on it. I don't want to epoxy it in place on the outside. It had to be getting in here. Yeah, should have done it like this a year ago. I only just added some on top, thinking, well, I'll deal with it later. Now I'm dealing with it later. I may as well fit this plug while I'm sitting here waiting for this to dry. Should I reset that? I could, but the screwdriver's down there. I wonder if it'll... I know. No, I'd have to pull it out and risk it breaking off. This is very thin, but I'm just gonna get something in there. Oh my gosh, I gotta line the grain, very important. All right, that might help things, might not.
You want to wait until it's perfect?
No.
Okay. A work in progress.
So tell us about this name.
So, I'm an older musician, and if you know old blues, like slide guitar players, Ry Cooder is one of the best. He's worked with a million different people. You can Google it. Ry Cooder. Now, I'm doing some vocalizations with another woman who's also postmenopausal. So we thought the great name for the band would be Dry Cooter, although we're not changing the D to a T, as in the euphemism for vaginas, but we're just sticking with the Ry Cooter spelling. And then we were like, we just were gifted this boat. And we went, yeah! Dry Cooter is a great band name and a great
Yeah, it
boat
is.
name. And we pray to keep our cooters dry inside the boat.
Yeah, may she be dry.
May she be dry on the inside. Woohoo! Not me, but the boat.
Thanks.
So yeah, we have been adding flora,
Beautiful flowers.
brightening it up. We did some sort of tie-dye-ish waterline spray.
There's not going to be anything else like it out there.
Some of these are not hand painted. Some of these are actually bathtub decals. They're the things that stop you from sliding in your bathtub. We got some good 60s ones. They're interspersed here.
I see you've been sealing your windows, looking
Oh,
better.
yeah, Doug did those. I'm not claiming any responsibility for the shitty job. I'm
You
gonna
know,
go
as
get a
long as
clear,
it keeps
too.
the water out.
That Sikaflex comes in clear, right?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because we used the Sikaflex to put the window back, and I need clear for the insides for this joint. Anyway, we're gonna find out today whether it comes in clear or not. We'll have to do that stencil,
Very cool.
and then I'm gonna. That was just stenciled, and then I'm gonna firm it up a little bit. See what I'm talking about over here?
Yeah, totally.
I love it. I'm
So do I. That's awesome.
I'm totally digging it.
What a cool little boat.
Birds.
Yeah, it was like a blackbird chasing a... I think there's an osprey. I think it's the osprey. I saw it grab a baby squirrel the other day.
Big.
Yeah, he's huge.
No, that's the one who's big. I think that's...
Maybe it was one of their babies and not a baby squirrel. I couldn't really see. I heard this horrible screeching.
Oh no.
Yeah, well,
Nature.
yeah, they gotta eat. I'm gonna extend this line only because this is blown out. I don't want to get into a whole epoxy repair of that right now. The Sikaflex will keep water out better. It's not going to be super pretty, but it'll be okay. Wow. I started trying to cut this. It's really almost impossible. I can't actually get my head and shoulders inside here with the tool. I can't hold the tool with one hand with any accuracy. And meanwhile, everything you see those holes I drilled, it's filled with penetrating epoxy. It's all rock hard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get, after I get my deck planks in place, I'm gonna try to, I don't know, sort of backfill this. It's just too much to cut it out. I'd have to demolish all this to get in there to do it right. Or to do it with wood or plastic. I'm just gonna backfill it. As for this, I'm gonna take some time this afternoon to try to open that up more so I can maybe get something in there. Here, wow. lift on cue. Not coming for me. I think here the same. Well, there's like mesh in there. What is... Wow. This has been a problem for some time. It's been addressed before. Yeah, here I'm going to do the same. My new deck piece, the corner piece, it will have a little 1/2 inch thick lip on the end of it that will form a floor there. I'm going to tape it or put something on it to keep the epoxy from sticking to it, because I don't want to epoxy it in place. And then I'm going to go from inside, drill holes, and try to backfill. And I think I see a little active mold there. I got to get some vinegar in that. I'll be right back. Got to get in touch with your inner inchworm. Yeah, I should have dealt with this properly when I was working on the bulkhead. I should have just demolished that entire bulkhead. Something tells me in my lifetime I'm going to wind up having to do that. But as long as I can stop the rot, like when that dries a little bit later, if it ever dries, I'm going to try to get closer with a chisel, gouge some more of that out, drill some holes from the inside. Even though it's very tight there, I don't have an open locker on that side. And try to get some thickened epoxy in there, maybe with some micro balloons or something. So, you see this block here, looks like it was put in after the fact. It supports the plywood. The actual bulkhead is okay, but the whole bottom, it's hollowed out. Like I started digging from below inside the engine room. It goes up and up and up. So I think I'm going to have to do what I did over there, but I need a right angle drill to do it. I'm going to drill a bunch of holes as high as I can. I'm going to finish the deck, seal this up somehow so it doesn't all dribble out, and I don't want to epoxy the decking to it. I'm just going to, yeah, I'm going to extend the deck to the edge of where the plywood would be. If it's intact, I might extend that one a little bit more. Get penetrating epoxy in there. And then just come in here with a garden trowel full of thickened epoxy and just or something. If I remove this, or oh geez, you know what? There's a drawer that goes in here. This obviously, clearly not structural. It doesn't really do anything. I'm going to pull that out right now. Then I won't need a right angle drill to do anything. In fact, I could even, I don't know if I'm going to do that today. I'm getting pretty burnt out. But I might even, at some point, I'm going to cut. Well, let me get this out of the way and I'll show you. I wasn't going to show this, but I'm hoping I can show off the efficacy of my beloved vintage beehive scraper for just this kind of operation as a pry bar. Some little nails. Uh-oh. Probably ring nails. Damn it. All right. I could waste a lot of time prying this, or I could do, you know what, yep. Let's get the oscillating saw and cut it out of there. Because if those are ring nails, it would take an eternity to work them out. Now, how high? I don't want to cut my fuel tank vents. I should probably remove them. If I cut, well, they're nailed very close to the edge of that beam. These things are kind of handy, but they're kind of not. I wish I had like a reciprocating saw with a blade that long that fit in the palm of my hand, but I don't know if there's any such thing. I do have a Dremel, but they're not that thing. I found my Dremel tool for cutting plywood of any thickness. It's really effective only in starting fires. So, and of course I cut all the way through this, and yet it would appear that I did not. Yeah, you can't control these with one hand at all. You can't cut a straight line with them. The blades never want to lock on the first try. Not that I'm complaining. Me complain? Come on, you want to come out. You're gonna come out. We can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. Look at it, it's still attached down there. I'm pretty sure that's cut all the way through. I don't know what's holding it now. There's no fasteners at the top, which is why it's so floppy to begin with. At least there's no rot or mold, so I got that going for me. I'll keep that. I'll either scab it back in or use it as a template or something, but boy howdy, we got much better access now. That's terrific. I'm sort of remembering now that one reason I didn't go into this bulkhead was because I thought perhaps of doing what I just did, cutting this so I can get in there and get it from here. I think today I'm going to remove these fuel tank vent hoses. I don't need them. They're just vulnerable here. I can reroute them later. All right. Love this little thing. But it doesn't always work. What is going on? Is that glued? Oh, I don't hear about no glue. I don't have the height. Get out. Get out. There are little bronze ring nails that the rings have corroded off of. And I love how I do like how the tanks are vented up here, very, very high. It's good, even though they're diesel, not gasoline. It's not that important, but that's a nice touch. They won't get back flushed with water, probably ever. It would take a mighty wave to get water in these. Why aren't you coming out? Barely. Fabulous. I'm not going to disco them. I'm going to keep them handy. I've already got too much hose and wires and stuff squirreled away that has to go back where it belongs. I've got screens for all the portholes too. It's getting dirty and damaged. There's no way to fix them in there though. I'm going to work on that. Maybe I should take these home before they come to bad end. Drill holes now, then back. And then I got to give it a few days to dry. The good news as regards that, even though it's horrible for the boat in general, is that the forecast currently is calling for, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday of temperatures in the mid-90s. It's going to be dry and extremely hot, which could be good for this situation. Maybe I'll even try. Ow. Oh yeah, I'm going to cut that away. I'm going to cut that away a little bit. Somebody's already put epoxy in that part. It's like stone. Yeah, as you can see, there's still the void continues up to like here. Cut it all away or try to just epoxy it. Now there is a beam here. Curiously, I just noticed for the first time the beam shelf ends right there. It doesn't seem right. Does it continue in the engine? Does it interrupt? Oh no, it's staggered. There's another one. There's a lower one that comes in here. Comes in down here. A much beefier one. So, yes, I will have to definitely do something about adding some more vertical support, because this beam here is interrupted by this block, which was just sitting on these other beams that support this thin plywood shelf. I can deal with this on the water. I've got to get that aft deck done. I can't get sidetracked anymore. This is not rotten. Hallelujah. It's the little things. I'm telling you, it's the little things. Got to get the after jacket done. Priority one. But yeah, I'm gonna take a moment. Keep cutting. Yeah, I think I can keep cutting. It's so wet in there. I gotta get air flowing in there. Let's do that. I was in such a terrible mood a couple hours ago, but I laid down and listened to old Jerome Rand for a little while, interviewing somebody. People who were sailing instead of doing this stuff. Just kind of relaxed me, and I feel a little bit better. But by the time I'm ready to vacuum the bilge this evening, I'm going to be annoyed all over again. In fact, I'm kind of getting annoyed now because I'm realizing I can't get in there. Oh, there's too much material there. I see now. I see. Okay. Yeah, it hollowed itself out in a very strange way. I really hope that. No. I'm going to probably have to recock like I did on the other side. I did that. I put a lot of Seafarer over there like a year ago. But I think, I don't know if it's just retaining moisture or if it's still active. Oh, Lord. Not quite there yet. Right into the bilge. It's not too hard to get in here. It's not like crawling into the engine room, but just to give you an idea of the scale of things. For me to get in there and get my hand on that, I have to go like this. Like that. But it's worth it. Look at my prize. That's white oak, and this doesn't smell moldy at all. It's just probably bacterial, right? Bacterial rot. Yeah, there is mesh in there. What in the? Somebody got desperate. Somebody got desperate. And put a bunch of like the kind of car repair mesh that you use with polyester resin. It's okay, it can stay. I'm not worried about it. The rot continues straight up a ways, but it gets narrower. I feel like I should keep going. And this block is sitting on this very solid beam, which doesn't go all the way across. It's all very strange. I'm feeling like what I may want to do is sort of a knee, but laying horizontally that grabs things here, maybe even one up top from here, although there's so many fasteners here already I couldn't hope to land a screw anywhere. There is another good, there's a double up beam that goes and ties into that frame. Maybe the answer is a sort of an inverted knee that will lay here. How do I screw that in place though? I'm thinking too much. I just got to get the rod out and let it dry out and get the deck done and then come back here and enjoy the subtle mysteries of this and how to solve this problem. Yes. There's always a point with these exploratories where I get excited. It's like, oh, okay, so that's what's going on there. But then when it's time to figure out how to fix it and then get into the nitty-gritty of fixing it, I'm just over it in no time. Well, that was a reasonably productive day. I should go home tonight, but it's a long drive. I don't feel like it. And I think if I feel motivated in the morning, I'm gonna clean and organize again. I didn't record it, but 2 days ago I went through this boat top to bottom, put tools more or less where they belong, put all this other stuff away, clean everything, vacuum the bilge, wipe everything down with vinegar. I even cleaned the inside of the glass on the port lights, and now everything's all dusty and it looks like a bomb went off in here again. But that's boat work for you. We're getting there. I just got to refocus on, I got to stop thinking about rot and refocus on getting the deck laid. I'm going to go home tomorrow and spend a few solid days. I got no work appointment currently till end of next week, which is good and bad. But try to rip down, render all that black locust I can into more than enough to do this. And I'm going to hunker down. Do I have to order more screws? I may have to order some more screws. Note to self. Hunker down and just get that thing laid, get it caulked. Whether or not I'm going to seal it immediately, I don't know. I'm going to use Sikaflex because all of that teak deck system stuff that I got for free from my generous new friend Rich turned out to be bad. It was 20 years past its projected shelf life, but every single tube was rock hard inside. Oh well. You win some, you lose some, you get what you pay for, etc. That stuff's too expensive for me to get new. I've heard it's the greatest thing since boiling pitch, which I also don't want to get into, or that what's his name's marine glue, which is supposed to be the ultimate stuff. Like you can only get a big tub of it, and it's like $700, $500. I don't need that much right now. I don't want to have a giant tub of tar or whatever the hell it is on the boat right now. So I know how to work with Sikaflex. I got a tube and a half ready to go. I didn't use the whole tube doing that business, so I might be able to do the whole thing, but I'm not going to do it right away. I'm going to caulk it and let it sit. Maybe let it get rained on a little bit, just to see what needs to be seen. Yeah, I don't want to find out that I need to tamp oakum down a little more, and reef stuff out. Things like that. I've heard sometimes that's what the old timers do. They'll let it sit for a little while and let the plank swell or shrink or whatever they want to do. See what happens when a little water gets in there. It's a bit of a gamble, I think, because you don't want moisture trapped in there under your sealant. But if I'm using oakum, which is tarred, that's one of the reasons I'm using oakum. Other than the fact that I have a box of it already that came with the boat. The oakum is tarred, so I don't think it's going to absorb as much moisture. I don't know. You could still get a bead of water standing in your bevel, right, on top of everything. I just have to make sure that when it's time to do the Sikaflex that everything's nice and dry. So right now it's beer o'clock, and yeah, I'm going to hit the bunk early and get out of here, clean up the boat early, put the tarp back and all the other Sisyphean tasks that have to be done every time I come to and leave the boat. Go home, get lumber rendered, and we'll still be looking good for a summertime launch. Don't know exactly when yet.